Well, hello and welcome to Yellow Flag FPL, the podcast where all of our opinions should be yellow flagged. My name is Harry.
And I'm Stephen Berry.
And we begin with an apology to our dear fans. Last week, due to technical difficulties, we were not able to produce a pod, which meant, of course, you had no idea what to do because we are, of course, the single point of truth and wisdom when it comes to FPL advice, as we're about to demonstrate that we're not. Because I've had a terrible week, Stephen, which I can rant a bit about. But before we do that, tell us, Stephen, how has your week been?
Well, I mean, Barrett, I did say it was a free hit week, to be fair. I would like to think I would have brought stats, but I probably wouldn't have done, even though good stat match of the day. He's had more shots and chances created than anyone in the Premier League, which was like, wow, that really passed me by, so fair play to those who picked him. I was 1 point above the average. I had Reindeers and Haaland to the rescue, basically, on the last game. Verts leaves. I decided to play. I had Verts as third on my bench, but decided to give him one more chance, and he returned me with a 0 point return, which was great. But yeah, 1 point over the average, which I'm pretty content about, given that I had Palmer as my captain. He was unlucky to go off when he did, so overall I can't complain too much. I'm above the average, also I'll take that, basically.
I assume Wirtz is now gone, seeing as he didn't even start against Everton.
Yeah. I mean, he's had 5 one more chances in probably not just my team, but in many other teams. But what is his ownership now? I wonder. His ownership is down to 13%, which I'm guessing is zombie teams plus me. Essentially, yes, he is very much gone.
Yeah. So my week was not great. I'm 45, so 3 above the average. Which is not bad, but my front line all blanked. Gave Watkins another go. Should have scored in the last minute and managed to fluff his lines. Captain Salah, which probably was the right call. 10 points with the captaincy. I benched Nico Williams on your advice. 10 points he ended up with, Stephen. So thank you for that. But I did start Esteve. Esteve got 4. Absolute DEFCON monster. Truffalo got 9 points. He made him and Reindeers become my highest scorer. And I've had my first red card of the season, Stephen. I started Sanchez. I started him. First 5 minutes, I was like, well, I better put this game on then. And managed to watch Chelsea run the subs and basically everything kind of fall apart. So I said it last week, but I am definitely 100%, maybe with a bit of doubt, going to wildcard this week. I just got to get Haaland in. I think it's a no-brainer. I sent you a few drafts which have Haaland and Salah because I'm just too afraid to let go of him. There is a lot of value there. And in those drafts, I was able to still have Gabriel, Semenyo, João Pedro as well, alongside Kudus and a few cheapies. Problems were really at the goalkeeper end. I was in one of the drafts, I had Dubravka and Roof, which is not necessarily the most ideal, but I'm pretty happy with my back line. It's just how else I exploit that in other areas. I also really like Isidore. I think Isidore is going to be so it's a really good shout at 5.5. So yeah, look, not the best week, but we can talk about a couple of the games, what we think it's going to be for FPL. So, Stephen, do you want to kick us off? Are you going to be straight into Arteta is a coward and won't play attacking football, or are we going to start softer?
Yeah, I mean, you've taken the words right out of my mouth. I mean, exactly that. We've had 2 big tests, and Arteta has failed them. Let's be very clear. Arteta has failed them, not Arsenal. The difference, I know, and it wasn't just Saka as well. It was just playing. Who knew that when you play, that cams are quite good? That actually having somebody who's a natural cam and you paid 60-odd million for and whatever, probably should play him. I mean, it's just so. I mean, I don't really know what else to say, really. Arteta has bottled his 2 big chances. Both Liverpool and Anfield was actually worse because Liverpool were really there to be got at and he didn't make the subs until it was too late, essentially. We got a point. But bear in mind, this is a Man City team who were not in the best run of form. A Man City team who I think have the same points now as Manchester United. So that shows you how in the doldrums they are, when they're equal to their Manchester neighbours. And we do that after he should have learned after Anfield what happens when you do that. You do not get the result that you want. What does it mean from an FPL perspective? Just quickly, still go for Arsenal assets. They have Newcastle next, which they'll lose. Eddie Howe has Arteta's number, so if you do have Arsenal, if you like Arsenal people, do not buy them now because we will lose that game. I'm pretty sure it's at James's Park as well. Doesn't matter, we're going to lose it. So don't go for Arsenal players now, but do go for Madueke's out for a couple of months as well, so that brings Saka back into the play. Arsenal have a very easy run. I think Saka's actually going to come right back onto the horizon very soon. It's expensive, but he could actually become a differential after the Newcastle game. Again, one of either Gabriel and Saliba and one of either Timber or Calafiore. Gokares, again, he's another one. He's probably going to be the one you choose over Saka just because... Excuse me. Just because there's lots of competition for midfielders, and he's probably the one forward that you would really like outside of Haaland. Man City, Rangers. Why people have been selling him, I don't know. We said that the haul was coming. It was nice that he got that assist. He will get more as the game weeks go on. Excuse me. As you can probably tell, guys, I've got a bit of a cold, unfortunately. But yeah, I think for Man City, Rangers, Haaland. Don't look much further than that. Foden didn't have a great game. The back line wasn't brilliant, but Haaland and Rangers look very good.
Yeah, no, I just looked at Saka's ownership. It's currently 3.9%. He's 9.8 million. If you're on wildcard, then that's a great shout. He's got Newcastle away, and then goes into a pretty nice run. West Ham, Fulham, Palace, Burnley. So that's a really nice run. But my question was going to be to you for the back line on Arsenal, because I have Gabriel at the moment. He's done pretty good. Got DEFCONs. It seems the most consistent starter. But if you're on wildcard and you need to squeeze as much out of your budget as possible, is it worth the risk going for a Timber and a Calafiore with the chance of them more likely to be rotated? Then obviously, being able to spend more money elsewhere, or is it just better to have a Gabriel that's going to start every single game and has a pretty good chance of scoring every now and again?
I actually don't think Arteta is going to rotate Timber and Calafiore. I think he's historically actually not been that much of a tinker man. I mean, Arsenal fans have criticised him for this. They're Saka plays every second, even when he's carrying injuries. He's had an opportunity to do that this season, but he hasn't done it. And given you could have done it when we were away at Bilbao, you could have rotated one or two players. He didn't do any of that. So I actually, he historically hasn't been a tinker man. I don't necessarily see that changing now. So I don't actually think it is a risk going for Timber and Calafiore. And in fact, actually, they are more of a goal threat than Gabriel. Gabriel has been quite marked heavily at set pieces, so the headers haven't just come as much. So actually, if you're wanting to spread it around, you probably are better off going for the fullbacks versus the two centre backs. They're just more. They're just probably going to have more goal involvement, essentially. But Gabriel, Gabriel's still a solid pick. But I think his DEFCONs are going to go down. He's going to be more of a 6-pointer, maybe the occasional 8 or 9. He'll get a header at some point, but the real points returns are probably Timber and Calafiore, especially from West Ham onwards. Actually, West basically from game week 7 to game week 15. I'm just looking at Arsenal have a good chance of winning all those games, and yes, that does include the North London derby.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll skirt past that. I won't take that, mate. But yeah, so I think I'm probably going to go for Calafiore, the handsome Italian stallion, to kind of free up a 0.3 mil for sort of spreading it around the team. But yeah, look, I think what I've concluded is I think I still read somewhere that that Haaland has more XG than 8 other teams in the league this season.
Wow.
Which is insane. The robot is back. I've actually put a few drafts together with no Liverpool attackers, which is really scary for me. But I think if you've got Haaland and you've got a load of money elsewhere to spend, it makes a lot of sense. So yeah,
it was a bit of a drab game. I'll be honest, I did fall asleep during it, but we expected that to be the case. But we'll move on, and we'll talk about another traditional top table clash, and that is Man United Chelsea. It's a bit of a weird game, to be honest, because as I mentioned, Sanchez got sent off first few minutes, and you saw the reaction of Maresca. He was just turned his back. He was like, "What is this man doing?" So yeah, I think on wildcard he's out, and I'll be bringing in someone else in for that. But the thing that really frustrated me about this game is the commentators saying how well Man United were doing for the whole game. I was like, but they play against 10 men for 40 minutes. Of course, they've done really well. I think this really is an anomaly. And when Casemiro got sent off for the most stupid second yellow I've ever seen in my life, Chelsea were dominating that game. So, look, if you're looking at that game and thinking, go buy Man United assets, Bruno Fernandes is back, all that sort of jazz. Bruno Fernandes, I think probably if I didn't have Salah and I was spreading the cash around, Bruno Fernandes is an attractive option. But Man United still are toilet. They're still not a great team. They still haven't got the right system together. Dogu looks very, very impressive on the wing, but that was when they were against 10 men. When they got back, when it was 10 on 10, he went straight back to being taken all over the shop by whoever was on the wing there. So, yeah, I think the advice still remains: Bruno or nothing. If you were going to go there, Dogu. Yeah. Not for me. Not for me. In fact, I'd rather than Bella.
I'm glad you finally come round to Man U being toilets after defending them so much. But I'm glad that finally you came round to them.
I defended them as FPL assets. I want to point this out. I defended them as FPL assets, not as a team.
Okay, fine. I guess the more interesting question is actually Chelsea. So Harmog went off after 20 minutes. Not really sure why. Yeah, okay. I mean, they've always had Sanchez in goal, so that's always been a risk for them. But still, they should have done better really against the 10 men of Man U. So I don't know. Should we be ignoring all Chelsea players? I mean, Tosun maybe has his place locked down at 4.5 at the back. No, sorry. Does it Fofana? Didn't he start? Sorry,
Fofana started. He came off. Yeah, as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, other than João Pedro, I mean, and is he even in us anymore? Chelsea have just scraped by against Lincoln, by the way, in the EFL Cup at the time we're recording this. So, are any Chelsea players, including João Pedro, especially if you're wildcarding, should they be going?
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of Chelsea. I think that if we knew more about Palmer's injury, I'd be very confident in starting him. To be honest, but now that we don't know much about that. I'd probably, if I was going to go no Salah, I would probably go midfield of Saka, a cheapie, undecided, really reindeers, I guess. Semenyo, maybe a Grealish or a Kudos, and then because you've got so much cash splitting around, another 7.5 or an 8, and then I would go maybe Haaland, Ekitike, or Mateta. But Chelsea, I'm really unsure about. Trevor Chalobah is top for defenders, I think, point score. Yeah, he's top. 38 points, 5.1 million. He does have an own goal in him, which is a weird thing to say about a centre-back. But I don't know why he seems to be top of the list for those sort of points. Maybe he's getting those DEFCONs.
They kept a clean sheets at the start of the season. And when you have Chelsea, they're not super solid, so he'll probably accumulate some DEFCONs and stuff like that over time.
Yeah, he's got over 5 games. He's got 51 DEFCONs.
Wow, there you
go. Not bad, but at Brentford he got 16. That's monstrous. So yeah, that's probably why he's done quite well. But then he got Senesi. He's also a DEFCON monster as well. So yeah, I don't know. I probably would only recommend João Pedro from the Chelsea lineup. He looked absolutely dead at the end of that game. Like he was a moment where he made a break down the left, and you just could see he was absolutely fucked. He couldn't run. He was done. Which it's a bit worrying for owners because it means that had they had the luxury of having 11 men on the pitch, he probably was going to get subbed at 70. But because they had to use the subs to rearrange the shape, and then Palmer gets injured, like it means that he probably, he stayed on for the full 90. So yeah, I think in the long and short of it is, if you have João Pedro, you're probably holding. Although if you're on wild card, I'd be tempted to move to Mateta because the fixtures kind of shift a little, or an Ekatike. Palmer, whilst we don't know anything, I don't really know what you do. You're a Palmer owner, aren't you?
I am. I mean, I sort of kept the favour with him because his injury wasn't that bad. He then got me 7 points against Brentford. He's then got off again. For 10.5 though, that's a lot of cash. It's a lot of cash for somebody who you're not sure about their fitness record. So, he's going to have another go next week because Chelsea have Brighton. Brighton have stuffed Barnsley 6-0.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. And obviously just held Spurs to a draw at the weekend as well. But then Chelsea, Liverpool at home. Sorry, then they have Nottingham. They've got Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, Spurs, Wolves. But like, it's quite hard to sell him with that running base. I can see him scoring in all those games apart from the Liverpool game, maybe. So, I don't know. He's not as annoying me as Wirtz. Let's put it that way. Wirtz is really.
He's not the biggest fire in your team, so he's probably something you keep him.
Exactly.
And
I still have cash as well. This is the thing. Even with him, I still have cash in my team. So this season really has not been the one where you need a lot of cash.
But it seems like, based on all of the kind of Chelsea forums and stuff, that it could just be a dead leg and he'll be back. And Maresca talking about not playing was more for the game against Lincoln, the Mighty Imps, rather than the weekend fixture, who they've got against Brighton at home. So. I think we're okay. But yeah, let's move on and let's talk about a game that both of us are very interested in for different reasons, I would imagine. But Wolves Leeds. Now,
yes,
we said
biggest result of the weekend, most interesting result of the weekend.
I think so. I think it's a statement win for Leeds. Because we said all along, any of these promoted teams, if they're going to stay up, they have to make their home a fortress. I think Sunderland have done that pretty well. I think Burnley are starting to work that out, but as you said before, they need to start getting results. But for Leeds to get a win away from home against a really struggling Wolves team is a real statement win. I watched the highlights, and you're not going to like what I'm going to say here. And I know he is not an FPL recommendation, but DCL's header was really nice.
It was excellent.
It was a beautiful goal. Beautiful goal. So
it was a very good header.
Yes.
Like that.
So, but I think the player we probably should talk about a bit more is Stack, who scored again. Another brilliant. It's just a free kick. It's like outrageous. He got the assist against Everton because it was his shot that got the that won the pen. Got the handball. They have got a nice run.
Isn't the Leeds penalty taker, because I think Nemchek took that one, but doesn't Strike the centre-back take them? I swear at some point he did. Yes,
I think so. But Anton Strack is 1.4% owned. He's got the next two fixtures are 3 rated fixtures on FPL, which I don't think is fair because they got Bournemouth at home and Tottenham at home. Last time Tottenham played them at home, we beat them 7-1. And Bournemouth are a good team. So I think FPL, you're a bit drunk, you need to go home. But then afterwards, they've got Burnley away, so 6-pointer, but definitely winnable. West Ham at home, they'll easily win that. Brighton away, which is difficult.
6-pointer.
Yeah, but Forest away, which is difficult but winnable. Villa at home and Man City away. But crucially, he's only 5 million. And, when you look at the 5 millions that are out there, you've got obviously Drewsbury Hall, Xhaka, people like that. Would you be tempted, if you're on wildcard, to look at an Anton Strack?
Well, I mean, I just have to go based on what Match of the Day said, which was that he has the most strikes or like goal involvements in all the top leagues. Is that what they said? Like said something absurd like that.
Yeah.
He's quite cheap. The person who is top of all of FPL has him and has had him since a ball was kicked. So, read from that what you will. But, so yeah, I'm just going to go through his...
15 death goals.
He's got Defcons as well. He's got lots of goal involvement. 5 million. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what's not to like. Really, you're right. The free kick was a beauty. Really, really well struck. You would criticise the wall. It wasn't like it bent that much. It was a good hit, but it was quite reasonably straight. It wasn't Declan Rice against Real Madrid.
He somehow always gets Arsenal into these bloody analysis. Honestly, we're talking about Wolves Leeds. Leave Arsenal alone. Honestly.
Okay, fine. But anyway, I mean, why not? Especially on a wild card, especially if you want Salah and Haaland. The only other five. So who's the 5 million? There's Xhaka. There's Papa Sarr, Spurs, who didn't play. Dewsbury Hall. He probably is actually. If you probably go him, then Xhaka, Dewsbury Hall, Sarr probably.
Yeah,
I'm not sure the other 5.
You've got Ferrari at Brighton, who scored at the weekend. Henderson, Brentford, but I'm not going to bait you anymore. Enzo Lafite of Sunderland.
Okay.
And then in terms of you going a bit further up in the 5.5s, you've got Gravenberch, Anthony.
Got Scott at Bournemouth.
Yeah. Anderson as well.
Yeah, he's the best. He is probably the best. Yeah, I can't. He's the yeah. It's a simple question. It's the answer is yes. If you need somebody cheap, he is your man. If you need 2 people cheap, him and Xhaka are your man, I would say.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we will come on to that, but Xhaka's assist, the first for the Sunderland goal. I mean, that was just gorgeous.
I was just to say, I'm really enjoying how now non-Arsenal fans are appreciating Granit Xhaka. It is beautiful to see. But let's talk about the other team on the pitch, which is obviously Wolves. Yeah. I have defended them, even though they haven't got a win so far this, and I will continue to defend them. So Leeds XG was 0.5, and they managed to generate 1.5 expected XG on target. Basically, DCL great header. Stack had a really good free kick. I can't remember who got their last goal. That was actually a pretty good finish, I thought, basically. But Wolves again played really well, just weren't very clinical. They had 16 shots, 6 on target, but again, from that, they didn't really their XG was sort of like a cumulative. There wasn't any rather really clear-cut chances other than the goal they scored. But the goal that they scored was really good. One-touch football around.
Yeah, it was really nice. Yeah,
I'm still not. I mean, Wolves fans probably won't feel like this right now, but I still think there's a decent team in there. I think Leeds were super clinical. And when DCL scores a header like that, and then your Wolves a bit... What I would say, which is worrying for them, both from a relegation and FPL standpoint, is the goals they gave away, there was a mistake, the wall was in the right place, sloppy. DCL's header, I don't think the defender jumped. Which is, again, could he have gotten there? It was a great cross. It was from Bogle, but never at the same time. I don't think either centre back jumped, which isn't ideal.
Yeah.
So I think Wolves are going to start doing things going forward. My best mate Strand Larsen probably comes into the equation given his price, but at the same time, you do want Wolves attackers. You do want attackers when they're playing Wolves. Basically, They are looking very, very civvy.
Yeah. So I was, as I said, I watched the highlights, and Carl Darlow had an actually worldie of a game. To be honest, he made some absolutely crazy good saves. So just a few stats on that. So you are right. Wolves had next year 1.61, with Leeds having 0.49. Leeds very lucky there, and the 2 goals were probably Wolves' mistakes. Wolves had 16 shots, 12 of which were in the box. Which is double what Leeds had. Wolves had the majority of possession as well. But look, to quote Michael Owen, if you don't score goals, you don't win games. And I think that the simple reality is that I think targeting Wolves now is a must. And Leeds are not a slouch. They're going to be no pushover. And I think that Strack offers real value. I think that Gudmundsson obviously got the own goal, really unlucky own goal. Apparently he was crying in the change room afterwards. At Fulham, he gets Defcons for days. If Carl Darlow keeps his place in the team, I think he's an excellent shout as well.
Come Come on, Darla. Hold your place. Come on.
I like Caldala. I like Caldala, but I mean, in this game, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Leeds players got DEFCONs. 7, which is insane. It shows how much Wolves were pushing, but it also shows how these Leeds players are really putting their bodies on the line. I think the conclusion is, if you do own a Wolves player, and I'm sure there are people out there that do, probably Wolves fans, unless it is the Agbadu centre-back, who seems to be getting DEFCONs every game, I'd be selling. Even if it's Strand Larson, I would be getting him out, particularly if you're on wildcard. And I think there is some value in Leeds, so don't disregard them. Do have a look. But yeah, very interesting game.
You also got to remember that they obviously got stuff 5-0 by Arsenal, but again, if you watch the game, they didn't care. The games where they have had to show up, their games at home, including against Newcastle and Everton, who are good teams, they turned up and got 4 points across those 2 fixtures. This game, they are very focused on what they need to do, which is to work hard, be industrious against teams that matter, and they've only conceded 2 goals from 2 goals from across the 4 games. So if you discount Arsenal, if you discount the Arsenal game, they've been really, really good. And I think it's I don't think it's ridiculous to discount that game. Given the context.
I think so. I mean, they're not going to stay up with games away to Arsenal. They're going to stay up for games away to Wolves. So yes. But let's move on to another promoted team. And playing against a team in trouble, which we've been talking about, and that's Burnley Forest. And Nico Williams scoring the opening goal in the 2nd minute. My heart did sink because he was last on my bench, so finished with 10 points.
Yeah.
But then Jadon Anthony, he does it again. He's a top scorer. He's the 2nd top scorer for midfielders behind Semenyo. He's 5.5.
Is he?
Yes.
Wow.
I said this 3 podcasts ago, after the Liverpool game.
I remember.
He looks good. It was after the Man United game. Where he got a goal. He's got 3 goals, 1 assist, DEFCONs in 2 games, 5.5. There's real value there, and he's got 10 points in this game against Forest that were flying. So he has got a tough run. He's got City away next, Villa away, which is less tough, and he's got Leeds, Wolves, Arsenal.
Well, Can I counteract that? Does he have a tough run? So Man City away, yep.
Arsenal
Villa away. Villa. I don't think Villa is a 4 now. I don't think that is a number.
I don't think that's accurate.
Leeds at home. We saw what they did against Sunderland. They're another team, Burnley, who they know what they need to do. Wolves away, we've just discussed. Arsenal home, that's fine. But then West Ham, Chelsea a bit all over the shop. Brentford. I've seen worse.
Yeah.
I've seen worse, basically. And I also think with a forward, especially one of the lower clubs, one of the biggest issues that they can have is that a team respects them too much. For example, are Villa going to go to Turf Moor and sit back? No. They're going to go for it. So for someone like an Anthony...
Well, Burnley are going to Villa Park.
Against Liverpool.
Burnley are going to Villa Park, so it's actually more...
so the other way around.
It's the other way around, and I think what that means is that actually the way it's going to go is Aston Villa are going to throw everything at them, and then he's going to be the one making the breaks. So
yeah. But even if it was at the Turf Moor, Villa would still go for that. So yeah, and their front 3 are quick. So I mean, is he? He's only behind Semenyo. Wow, fair enough.
5.5, 34 points. Casado is 3rd, and without looking, Stephen, who's 4th? Well, now you're looking though, aren't you?
It must be Salah, surely.
No.
Salah's not 4th. Oh, okay. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, he has joined 4th, but he's not 4th in this on here because I guess
it's not Bruno Fernandes, is it?
It's not. It's Enzo Fernandez.
Okay.
So it's an interesting season with DEFCONs there. But yeah, I think what this showed is Forest are a team we can target. We did discuss that before, and I think that I'm not saying if you saw them playing against Palace, for example, or someone like that, that I'd be instantly going and buying Palace players. But if I had players playing against Forest, I definitely wouldn't be worried about it. If anything, I'd be starting them. To be honest, I mean, Forest have Sunderland next, and if I had Isidore or Ruth or Ballard if I still had him, I'd be starting them. So
And
yeah,
I was thinking, I mean, is And under pressure already? I mean, obviously the owner's insane. I remember Nuno had a bad start when he eventually joined them. The fans gave him a little bit of time, so the fans are probably okay with it for now. But yeah, if he loses the game to Sunderland, and then he's got then he's got Newcastle, Chelsea, Bournemouth. Oh god, that's actually a really bad run. That's a really, really bad run for Nottingham Forest.
yeah. So I'm concerned about Forest because their owner is mental. But I also, I lived in Nottingham for 3 years. They're very proud people. They'll give everyone a chance. They'll give everyone a shot, and they'll respect. If you come there and you act respectful to them, to the team, to the history of the club, they will give you a chance. But all it takes is a bad run of results, a shocker, like a 4-0 loss. And Ange has those in him. I know he does. I saw a lot of them at Tottenham. Thinking about the Chelsea game where we were down to 9 men still pressing. So I think that will be the switch. If he's doing stuff that everyone in the ground knows is mental, and he's so stubborn he continues to do it, then it'll be a problem. But I think if you have players playing against Forest, keep them on the pitch, don't bench them, because they're going to have chances.
Well, we've mentioned their next opponent, and also an opponent where everyone said they'd be relegation fodder, to now actually challenging for Europe. The roles reversed, and that's now Sunderland. So I said it. I said it on the last podcast. Hopefully, the one that went out. Sunderland, they just look Premier League-y. They just do. They look like they look like Palace. They look like a Brighton. They just look like we're here. We belong. We're not worried. They've got a brilliant manager. A manager who's rotating well, bringing in subs well. They just look. They've gone from just being happy to we're Sunderland. We're in the Premier League. This is where we belong. So interesting, Villa. So Villa obviously played against 10 men for most of that game. I can't remember when the guy got sent off in the first half.
Yeah,
but Villa, So Villa only got a draw out of that because of a Matty Cash worldie. So they generated expected goals on target of 0.15. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. So if it wasn't for Matty Cash just having that ridiculous goal, they lose that game. Worse than that, they had 71% possession. So this result for Villa is actually really, really not good. People look at okay, Watkins missed that great chance and stuff like that, but I'm sorry, they need to be doing more than that, especially with 71% possession. So Sunderland, they look Premier League, they look good on the counter-attack. Isidore, as you said, is 5.5. The only concern I have about Sunderland, other than Granit Xhaka, it looks like he's rotating a lot. Lafitte comes in, Adingra comes in, Isidore comes in. The back line, he's even rotated the left backs or so. So I do like. I haven't checked to see what Isidore's starting rate is, but I think even he's been rotated for. I can't remember the other striker that they have, but I'm not sure if he started every week. But so that would be the only concern I'd have around him. But still at 5.5, all his finishes have just been lovely finishes.
The thing is that the Matty Cash goal, if you look at it, it's a keeper error. It's straight at the keeper. He knows. I know it's really hard.
I thought that at first glance, but if you actually look, because he got his hands to it, if you look at it again, the swerve was horrible. He's wrong-footed and he just doesn't get his hands together.
Yeah, okay, but that's the Premier League, right? So I think he'll be disappointed in that. And I'm not bashing the keeper because the keeper's had a great season, whatever. But on another day, he saves that. Yeah, and then Isidore scores and they lose. I mean, it's Villa's first goal this season. And like you said, Watkins should have won it at the end. So I think if you had Villa assets, I mean, I'm wildcarding, so Watkins, his bags are packed, he's gone. But if you had another Villa asset, some people with cash out there, some people with Martinez like yourself, is it an automatic sell on wildcard or otherwise?
Absolutely, because Rodgers, Buendia, McGinn, Camara, get Cash, Gonza, Watkins. This is a good team and they're not firing. This is really worrying. With other teams who aren't perhaps like Wolves, for example, they're probably. I know it's a really cliche and very unhelpful one. They just need a good striker. I mean, it's the worst cliche in the world. Every team wants a 30-goal season striker. But anyway, we've
Yeah,
got better for that. But at least you can like sort of, you know, or they need a bit more organisation. Villa, I'm just like, what do you do? Like, they have really good players, they have a really good manager, and it's just not working. So yeah, I would be moving on from then, and then Sunderland. Yeah, definitely Xhaka, because he's guaranteed to start every week. He is a yellow card machine, which is annoying. Like, he would have probably got 7 points rather than 5 or 4. I can't remember what he got for me at the end. Without that yellow card, but nevertheless, he's gotten some sort of return every game that he's had. He's 5 million. And I can sense a big haul from him coming. I can feel it in my bones.
A 20-pointer. John Lidstrom.
I was thinking more like a 14er, but I'll take a 20. I'll take it.
That would be a Xhaka haul. Cool. Okay, so let's move on a little bit and talk about my team, who did a very un-Spursy thing, and that is come back from 2-0 down. To be fair, the first goal is poor defending, and he was onside by, you know, a mouse's fart. So, you know, another day it definitely wouldn't have happened. And the second goal is just an absolute screamer. Like, very little backlift, absolutely leathers it on a mistake from Spurs' defensive back line. But Spurs got back in it. Kudus looked really attacking. He looked really, really attacking. He created loads of chances. Again, he doesn't have a minute's threat. So even though on wildcard, and I talked about this a couple of podcasts ago, that I would look to get Papsar in, I think probably I'm going to keep Kudus even on wildcard. He's just going to tick along quite nicely.
Can I just say 2 things quickly? One, Barry did say last week on the pod that unfortunately didn't record, he did say hold Kudus if you had him. So I do want to give him that, give credit where credit is due there. Why? And then secondly, why didn't Sarr start? Is it European rotation? Is that something we think about now with Spurs players? Okay.
Probably.
So
I mean,
Kudus,
it's European, and then it's
so
League Cup. We've got Doncaster on Wednesday. Xabi Simons came off the bench, and he looked electric. Oh my God. I know he's only just getting going, and I don't want to get overexcited, but he looks like an absolute steal. And any Chelsea fans listening, what in God's name were you doing? Like, he looks like the real deal. He looks really, really good. And, you know, I think he's 7 million, so he's expensive, so he's definitely not a buy for FPL. But when he gets a run in the team, when he starts scoring, he's going to be a good one to look at.
But when will that run come? Because that's a concern I have right now with Spurs' midfield. Interestingly, Richarlison, is Solanke injured? So is Richarlison sort of the only guaranteed minutes person?
So Solanke returned to training, but it was individual training. So I think what that means is he's not playing with the team yet. So I think that Richarlison's okay for a bit longer, and also, you know, I think Solanke's maybe 3 or 4 games from starting. To be honest, I think he's still a way off. They might give him some minutes against Doncaster, maybe, but I'm not sure. So I mean, Richarlison's 4th for strikers. He's 6.7, so I think he's not a bad shout, to be honest. But the player I want to talk about from this game, though, just quickly, is actually on the other team, and he scored the opening goal. Oh, Minter, indeed, yes. So he's 5.9. 24 points he's scored this season. He's got, the returns haven't been great. Like, he got 4 points for, I guess, Defcons in Man City. He got an assist against Bournemouth, and he scored against us with 9. I like him. I think he's a good player. He's playing consistently. He's 6 million, which is expensive, and maybe you can't afford him if you have, those array of other players. But if you wanted to keep a 6.5 million slot available, I think he's definitely one to look at. So I'd look at Minter 5.9 as well, which I imagine he started quite heavily owned. But what is his ownership now? 1.1%. And then after Chelsea away, he's got Wolves, Newcastle, Man United, Leeds. It's not a bad fixture run. And then he doesn't really have that tough of a fixture until game week 16, which is Liverpool away. So he'd be quite nice to forget.
They're also not in Europe. Are they
Yeah,
out
true.
of the EFL? Oh no, so they're just doing the EFL Cup today. But I think they played the kids.
Yeah. I mean, Welbeck
Yeah.
played, but I mean, Minter wasn't even there. So
Yeah. So they're still playing the kids. So even if they get, I don't know, let's say Arsenal next, it doesn't look like they're taking it that seriously. So yeah. I like him as well. He's from Newcastle, so Minter. I think it's pronounced Minter. Maybe that's safe for that. But yeah, no, he's a good player.
maybe leave the impressions at the door, Stephen.
Well, Brian bought him for 45 million, which was seen at the time as a big FPL ruse, but at the same time, Brighton don't spend 40 million on a player who isn't half decent. So yeah,
Sure.
I like him as well.
Cool. So just before we move on to our sort of rogue, middling, and good, do we want to talk a little bit about West Ham Palace, or are we just going to absolutely shit on West Ham from a great height again?
I think all that needs to be said about West Ham has already been said. The only thing I would say, just in summary, Palace are still very good. West Ham are still very, very bad. They're backing Potter still. I think longer term, like who are they going to get in? Like, you know, it's a bit like Villa, which is obviously a lot more severe. Like you actually go through the team and go on paper, these are decent players, but it's just not working. So yeah, no, you very much do fear for West Ham. Football Joe did had a good statement, which is the Premier League is healing. Sunderland and Leeds are safe. And then it wasn't directed at West Ham. I appreciate that's okay, but it said that Sunderland and Leeds are doing well. Burnley were very unlucky not to keep a clean sheet and get a point against Liverpool. Could this be finally the 3 promoted teams stay up and 3 different teams get relegated? That will be the Premier League officially healed if that doing their very best to heal the Premier League. I'll give them credit where credit is due.
I think it might be. I think this might be the season where all 3 teams stay up. That's my prediction. And it's not my middling and rogue. Worth mentioning that Tyrant Mitchell scored. Obviously, he's 5 million, I think. He's a pretty good wing back, and the volley was definitely a thing of beauty, so worth watching. And then Mateta. So I'm debating between Mateta and João Pedro. I probably will stick on João Pedro because Mateta's fixtures look really, really bad. And Jarrod Bowen getting the returns as well. So yeah, I mean, I think Palace had 18 shots in the game and West Ham had 7, which is mental. It just shows that realistically, and the big chances, I think Palace had 4 and West Ham had 1. So,
and it also says a lot. Like Glasner came out after saying we weren't that great. We can do a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, but Palace joined Liverpool in being an unbeaten team in the league.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Again,
great to see.
Really have got you. Everyone thought that those thinking the FA Cup would be the end of them. They're like, no, they're actually going to qualify for the UEFA Cup now, or even Champions League. Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
Never know. But I think, I really back Palace assets. I'm actually on wildcard thinking about bringing Gahey at 4.7. He's Defcon monster again.
He's 4.7 now.
Yeah, he's worth. I think he's worth the money. Worth the extra couple. So yeah, let's move on to our good, medium, and rogue. And I told you this before we went on air. I've gone for all players that are sub 5.5 for the reason that if you're like me, dear listener, and on wildcard, you need some of these lovely, lovely players, and it's going to be outside of the mainstream, the Reindeers, the Andersons, people like that. These are going to be players that protect. Well, we've mentioned a couple of them to be there, but I'm going to back it up with some stats as well. Okay. So, Stephen, why don't we go through yours first, and then I'll do mine.
Oh, Brad, you've set it up so perfectly for your own one. Please do go on.
Okay. Well, I think the listeners might get sick of my voice eventually, or I'll get another meme from Striker. Okay, cool. So, Josh King, I've mentioned him. He hasn't got the points, right? But he's 4.5. You could quite happily sit him on the bench and he'd be absolutely fine. But his XG at the moment is 0.64, XA of 0.12. He's getting about a shot or 2 per 90 and about a key pass per 90 or 2 per game as well. He's going to get some returns. And if he was on your bench and he came off your bench because some player didn't play due to European football, you really are not unhappy with that. So yeah, Josh, and he also seems to be getting the nod. Smith Rowe started tonight, home to Cambridge, so therefore it seems that Josh King will play at the weekend. who are playing. Who are they playing at the weekend? Villa. I want to say it's Villa. Yes, it is
Fulham,
Villa.
Fulham have got Villa at home. Yeah.
So I'm going to put Josh King as a middling, I would say. My good in that area probably would be a Jadon Anthony, although he's not that rogue because he's obviously he's doing quite well, but he does have some difficult fixtures. So I think Jadon Anthony is pretty decent for that. He currently has next year 2.17. Like I said, he's second for midfielders in terms of points. He's averaging 2 or 3 shots per game, but he's also been creating a few chances as well. So definitely worth a shout. And he's playing all the games. He scored 3 goals, 1 assist in 5 appearances. It's really not bad for a 5.5. And my rogue shout was going to be Anton Strack of Leeds, purely because.
Is it rogue, Barry? Going for the guy.
I think he is. I think he is.
Goes involvements.
So here's my analysis as to why. If you have 5 million, a 5 million midfielder, he's in that middle bracket of do you play him? Because 5 million is quite a lot to have on the bench, but also if you play him, there's a very good chance he's not going to do anything, right? He's got 1 goal, 1 assist this season, so maybe we shouldn't be too overexcited about it. But he's averaging 2 or 3 shots per game. So I think it's not rogue in terms of selection. I think it's rogue in terms of how it affects your team setup more generally. And then I'm going to give an honourable mention to Drewsbury Hall. He obviously had that haul against Wolves, which was great to see, but since then hasn't done much. He's averaging less than a shot per 90 minutes, which would worry me, but he seems to be very creative. So we'll be getting a few assists, I imagine. So yeah, that is my summary of players there. I mean, I probably would go for Anthony out of all of those because look, owning new players that other people haven't thought about, it is fun. And I can't imagine he is more than 5% owned. What would you say, Stephen? What's your bet on how owned he is?
I like all of them. I just think putting a Burnley player as your banker is a sign of Burnley, I would say. What a great team they are, what a great job Scott Parker's doing, or that you're insane. I guess I'll let that for the listeners to decide.
2.4% owned.
I mean, cool. So my banker is Jack Grealish. He's got West Ham at home next. Need I say any more? Palace at home next, not ideal. He then can't play against Man City, Tottenham, Sunderland, Fulham. It's a pretty good run, and he just looked really good in the Merseyside derby. I think another big haul is coming around the corner for him. My middling is Karim Matoma.
Okay.
So he's got Chelsea and Wolves next. He's been a bit disappointing, Matoma. If you look at his stats as well, it has nowhere near this XGI that you want. But I think those 2 games he's going to come into a lot. He's going to do a lot more. He's basically guaranteed to start due to the lack of other options at Brighton on that wing. Surprisingly, he's got Newcastle at home, not ideal, but Man U, Leeds, very good run. They're pretty attacking Brighton, and I just Matoma. I think he's due something basically. His stats could be better, but they of course could be worse. And I think out of those 5 fixtures, he's going to get a big haul in at least 2 of them. And also, by the way, I'm practicing what I'm preaching, by the way. I've brought in my banker in Jack Grealish. Verts to him was a very, very cathartic thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also selling Frimpong. Frimpong started against Liverpool? Southampton in the EFL Cup. And if you look at the rest of the team, it looks like Frimpong is now the second choice right back for Liverpool, which is incredible. The Bundesliga is trying to not make the Premier League into the Bundesliga by making Liverpool terrible, but anyway, we thank them for that. So Frimpong's gone, and I brought him in for my rogue shout, which is Trey Hume at Sunderland. So
I've never even heard of him.
I think yeah, exactly. That's why he's rogue. So Barry, I think he's 0.3% owned.
Okay.
He's started every week for Sunderland. The reason why I have gone for him, and there's a little bit of analysis here, Barry, he averages 9.2 DEFCONs a game or something like that, so we're not asking too much for him to get to the magical 10. He is less of a goal threat than Alderete, the centre-back, and now that Ballard's back as well. Sunderland looks like Sunderland being very good on set pieces this season. But he's the full-back. he's going to start doing more, I think. And Sunderland have a DEFCON run from memory. So they've got Nottingham Forest away again. They've got Nottingham Forest away, Man U, Wolves, Chelsea. Those teams are all going to attack Sunderland, so the DEFCONs are coming. But they could also not score and keep clean sheets. So I think there's a nice balance there between getting DEFCONs but also clean sheets. So yeah, Trey Hume is and I've brought him in. I've put my money where my mouth is on my rogue this week. Yeah, Trey Hume and Jack Grealish, welcome to the team.
Fantastic. Well, that's great to hear. Well, we'll be sharing obviously all our teams at the end of this week. I'll be sharing my wild card. I might even put out a couple of drafts and get the dear public to vote. But as I said, I think I'm probably going to say goodbye to Mo Salah, which is a really painful thing to do. So we will see how it goes. But yes, whatever you're doing this week, I hope it goes well for you. Make sure you play it your way. Thank you very much for listening. Give us a like and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. Thank you for Rita for helping us. And hopefully this podcast will be going out to you relatively shortly with no technical interruptions. So thank you very much and have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.